Adit, markets react quickly to global shocks, but historically we've seen it time and again. They also recover quickly once uncertainty fades. But Mitali and Mr. Malu made a credible point. This war seems to be really chaotic. It seems to be maximizing that chaos in the entire Gulf region. We already explained via numbers how important the Strait of Hormuz is, and the government meeting itself said that, the Strait of Hormuz and a supply via that strait is unlikely to resume at least soon. Now, will the crude oil go above the $200 mark? That's something that we'll have to wait and find out. But the government says that it will stabilize somewhere between 120 to 140. All speculation right now. So this crisis is not just geopolitical, it's also economic. How significant do you think is the Strait of Hormuz in this global supply, even as the government says that we're better off, we're resilient, and we have everything under control? So is this mere posturing, or how do you look at these developments? These are government sources that are telling us this.
No, Kabir, I think the writing's pretty much on the wall. Investors predominantly, I don't think are going to be safe, at least from a short-term perspective. Volatility will continue to persist as well, because we've seen the level of attacks that have happened. I mean, this is absolutely unprecedented. From Bahrain to Qatar to Iran, all of their oil assets have been hit, their LPG assets have been hit. And this has never been, even in the 70s and 80s when they were, going against each other, this wasn't a phenomenon that we were essentially, accustomed to or acclimatized to. So this is a first amongst everything else, which is why it raises the uncertainty in the markets, which is why you've seen the kind of decline in the Japanese markets, the South Korean markets. They've taken a hit of 5 to 6%. India comparatively is slightly more insulated at roughly about 2.15%. So we've seen a bit more. We've shown a little more resilience from that perspective, and also India has been able to diversify its imports. They have been able to demonstrate that we are not fully reliant on the Strait of Hormuz. We do have buffers of roughly about 8 odd weeks, but also we do have the option of going back to the Russian crude. We are already in talks with Angola, with Nigeria, with United States for that matter. I think from that perspective, we will be hit, no doubt. There will be repercussions that the markets will see, significant write-off, as we've already seen from a market perspective. I think 8,000 8,000 crores, I think, is the number that we're getting to hear that was going to be written off. But all in all, I think if we look at the larger trajectory, it's just not the crude oil. It is also your LPG and LNG.
Yeah.
It is also your urea production. Its sowing season is just around the corner. When that gets hit, your agricultural market gets hit. Automatically, your food prices will start to feel the heat as well. And then, the AI revolution side of things, helium, which is one of the most critical energies which is required for building and manufacturing those AI chips, those semiconductor chips. 30% of the traded helium predominantly comes from these GCC countries. Now, when the Strait of Hormuz gets hit, there is a ripple effect that these kind of industries will also get to feel. So it's just not limited to industries which are basically exposed to your crude oil and Brent oil, but also to other industries, your agri industry, to your AI sector, to your consumer electronics. Those are going to take a massive amount of hit.
All important sectors for a country's growth, specifically in 2026.